So it's interesting. Manufacturers have very challenging sales tax obligations. Number one, because they find themselves in a unique position in the supply chain, a spot where a lot of exemptions and exclusions take place, because a lot of states favor the activity of manufacturing because it creates jobs and boosts the state economy. Right now, manufacturers they expend a lot of energy on making sure that they're able to self-assess use tax when their suppliers don't charge them tax. And of course, a supplier wouldn't charge a manufacturer tax in those circumstances where the seller doesn't have nexus in that state. If this were to come to pass and sellers had nexus in more states, you would be potentially charging manufacturers tax in more circumstances. And if that was the case, manufacturers' concerns would shift a little. They wouldn't necessarily be as concerned with self-assessing use tax when appropriate, but they would have to expend a lot more energy in validating the propriety of any tax charged by their vendor. In other words, to put up sort of an AP or an AR validation tool to make sure that they're only paying as much tax as they should have. And of course, the other thing we're seeing about manufacturers is that they're selling multi-channel, meaning they're selling in the context of their supply chain, and they're charging and they're selling to consumers. If indeed we had an expanded nexus rule, these manufacturers with potentially limited geographic and nexus footprints would indeed have an obligation to collect and remit tax in potentially, ultimately, any jurisdiction in which they sell. So they have a greatly expanded sales tax obligation.